Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the town of Adalia. I'm Lukas Thatcher, and as always, I'm joined by my trusty research assistant, Malik.
Hi, everyone. Before we get started, today's episode is a bit different from our usual format. We received a recording through an envelope mailed to our door, despite never disclosing where exactly we are staying, and there's no return address. It's a recording of a woman, Elisabeth Harlan. We did a little digging, but we didn't find anything on her other than an obituary dated 3 years ago. When we traced the sender address, we found it was a local police station a good few miles out, but it seemed like no one got the message.
We've listened to the recording, and it's unsettling, to say the least. We've decided to play it in its entirety for you, and then we'll discuss it. Listener discretion is advised.
Alright, my name is Elisabeth Harlan, and I don't know how much longer I can endure this torment. I feel like I'm the only one who sees what's really going on in this town. If you're hearing this, I beg you to believe me. What I'm about to tell you might sound like the ramblings of a lunatic, but it's the truth, and it is driving me mad. It all started about a year ago. There was this little girl in town, Julie Myers. She was just the sweetest, so kind and full of life despite her illness. Julie was battling cancer, and everyone in Adalia knew about it. Adalia isn't exactly a big place. There's not much to talk about. Her parents, Paul and Sarah, were devastated, but incredibly supportive. They did everything they could to make her last days comfortable, surrounding her with love and care. I remember visiting them, bringing over meals, sitting with Julie. She would lie in her bed, and I couldn't help but notice how small her little body looked against the pillows. She was a fighter, but we all knew the end was near. I was there the night she passed. It was peaceful. She just drifted off to sleep and didn't wake up. Her parents were heartbroken, as was the entire community. We all mourned her loss. But then something changed. Slowly at first, like a fog creeping in at dawn. I don't know what came over everyone, but people in town started to forget. Not about Julie completely, but about her death. They kept saying she gone missing? I couldn't understand it. I tried to remind them, told them about the night she died, about how we had been there for her, but no one remembered. They just stared at me, blankly, as if those memories had been wiped away, replaced by this fabricated story of her disappearance. I know what you'll say, but this isn't like a coping thing. They all completely believed she just disappeared. Paul and Sarah were the hardest to watch. They went from grieving parents to confused, searching souls. They would wander the streets every night, calling out for Julie, putting up missing posters, pleading for anyone to come forward with information. It broke my heart. I tried to comfort them, to remind them of what really happened, but they just looked at me like I was crazy. It was like they had been programmed or something to believe this lie. And then I started seeing her. At first, just glimpses, a shadow out the corner of my eye, a fleeting figure in a crowd. I just assumed it was because I missed her, or because of everything that was going on in the town. I even managed to convince myself that she was really still alive, once or twice. But I was there when she died. I saw her body. We buried her. She was dead. But it became more frequent, more vivid. I would see her standing in my yard. She looked like a ghost, pale, and I swear I could see through her when I looked at her out of the corner of my eye. She was just stare at me with these sad eyes, like she knew. She knew I was the only one that remembered. I'd see her reflection in mirrors and windows. She was everywhere. Her presence was everywhere. It was overwhelming, inescapable. One night, I woke up to find her standing at the foot of my bed. She looked just like how I remembered. Tiny and frail and delicate, but there was something different this time. Her eyes, they were different. Hollow. Haunted. She didn't speak, but I could feel her sorrow, her confusion. It was as if she was trapped, unable to move on because no one remembered her death. No one but me. Her parents' grief and confusion had bound her spirit to this place, to me. I don't know how or why, but I started documenting everything, trying to piece together what had been happening. I went through old photos, letters, anything that could prove Julie had been ill, had died. But the more I searched, the less I found. It was as if she was being erased from history. Her death certificate, her medical records, they were all gone. And that's not it either. Other things, small things like the time I took her for ice cream, or bigger things like that awful 6th birthday she had, they were going too. Her friends, her family, Julie's whole life. None of them remembered. I don't know why I'm the only one who remembers. I wish I did. Maybe it's because I was there that night, holding her hand as she slipped away. Maybe it's, well, I've always been more attuned to the unseen, the unexplained. My grams always said I had a gift. But it's tearing me apart, seeing Julie everywhere I go, feeling her sorrow and confusion. It's too much. It's more than I can bear. The other night, I went to her parents' house. They were sitting in the living room, surrounded by pictures of Julie. But none of them showed her being sick. It was as if her illness had never existed. I tried one last time to make them understand. I told them about the night she died, how we mourned her. But they just stared at me blankly, as if I were speaking a foreign language. The way Paul looked at me. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "Our Julie isn't dead. She's missing. We'll find her." I left their house feeling the most hopeless I had ever felt. If even her parents couldn't remember, what chance did I have of making anyone else believe me? I thought about leaving town, about escaping this nightmare. But I can't abandon Julie. She needs me, even if I don't know how to help her. Last night, she appeared again. This time, she spoke. Her voice was faint, like a whisper on the wind, but I heard it clear as day, just like she sounded before she passed. She said, "Help me. Please, help me." I reached out to her, but she vanished, leaving me alone in the dark. I knew that I had to find a way to free her, to give her peace. I've been researching the town's history, looking for any clues that might explain what's happening. I don't know the answers, but I'm determined to find out. I can't keep living like this, with the weight of her sorrow pressing down on me. If anyone hears this, please, you have to believe me. Julie Myers died in her bed, surrounded by love. She did not go missing. Her spirit is trapped here in Adalia, and she needs our help to move on. Julie deserves peace, and so do Paul and Sarah. They deserve to know the truth about their daughter's death. I think I know why they wouldn't bury their dead in Adalia.
That is quite the story, isn't it? A little girl nobody remembers dying, only her going missing. It sounds like something straight out of a horror film.
Yeah, it's eerie. But Elizabeth's description of seeing Julie everywhere, feeling her sorrow, it's hard to dismiss that.
Really? People can convince themselves of many things, especially when grieving. Memory is fickle. Elizabeth could have been misremembering events, or she might have been experiencing a psychological breakdown. Julie and her seem pretty close. It would make sense.
You really think she imagined everything? The sightings, the parents' confusion?
It's plausible. Our minds can play elaborate tricks. False memory syndrome is a real phenomenon.
But what if there's more to it? The town's history, all those stories cropping up. Maybe there's something supernatural we're missing.
Supernatural?
Oh, come on! There are plenty of documented accounts of supernatural occurrences throughout written history.
Yeah, that usually boil down to perfectly reasonable explanations.
Just think about the other strange occurrences we've uncovered here. Maybe there's a pattern we're not seeing because we're too focused on rational explanations.
Are you serious? Malik, this is a research project. We need to stay grounded and look at the facts here.
What's wrong with keeping an open mind? If we dismiss everything as imagination, we might miss the bigger picture. What if Julie's spirit really is trying to communicate?
We're not out here to chase ghosts. We're here for evidence, remember? Why are you being so insistent about what...